What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we need to have a look at some new cards that are coming around in OP-09. Many of these are super rares, not all of them are super rare. Okay, fine, one of them isn't a super rare, but still, not all of them are super rares. One is just a regular rare. Oh no! And some of these are really good. So let's start off with one of the best here. Let's start off with Crocodile. Now, Crocodile is very important because it is a cross-guild card and former Baroque works. Now, cross-guild is very, very important because we know we've got the new buggy leader, and the new buggy leader is a fairly rubbish-looking leader, but it's got an activate main that lets you rest 5 Don, trash a card from your hand, and then play a cross-guild type from your hand. Which means you don't have to pay 7 to play Crocodile. You can pay 5 to play it with Buggy. This is a turn 3 card, not a turn 4 card. That makes a gigantic difference. Obviously, only in a Buggy deck. In another deck, then yes, it is still a turn 4 card. But what we've got here with Crocodile is, on play a 5 cost or lower, cross guild, or Baroque Works card from your hand. Oh, yeah, this is how Buggy starts being good. Because now, on the third turn of the game, you got 5 or 6 Don, depending on whether you went first or second. But now I'm using 5 Don to use Buggy's skill to play Crocodile, and then using Crocodile to play a second card, and all of a sudden this is a bazillion times better. This makes a huge difference, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely huge. And this is another one of those where we still don't know that much of OP-09. There is still a lot of OP-09 we're missing, and that's a little bit of a problem. I can tell you that generally speaking, if you can play a 5 cost or lower, you want to play a 5 cost. So, yay. But I don't know exactly which one you want to be playing here. Like the Daz Bones from EVO 1 I kind of like, because it's Baroque Works, and you don't actually get the extra boost in power because Buggy is not a Baroque Works leader, but you still get a 6,000 power body and on-play draw 2 trash 1, which honestly seems like a pretty good deal to me. I'm kind of alright with that, honestly, because I'm drawing cards, I'm ending up in cards, and I'm getting a decent-sized body on the board. I'm not saying it's the only option by a long shot, but I'm just saying that's a 5 cost I am absolutely looking for. Or maybe a 6k blocker Crocodile from starter deck free. I know it's not seeing a huge amount of play, but that is a good blocker to get on the board for free. And then you can also put a counter of a cost of 2 or less to the bottom of the owner's deck when you actually go for it. That is still an option. I really like this. I don't know if it's enough to make Buggy great yet. We might need a little bit more, but I'm telling you right now, ladies and gentlemen, we are starting to see a real uptick in Buggy here. You have been warned. I told you at the time we didn't know how good Buggy was going to be. How good Buggy is will pretty much entirely depend on the cross-guild cards we get. This Crocodile, oh, good start. You know what else is a good start? The new Blackbeard. Remember we got the leader that turns off on-play skills for you as a standard, and your opponent if you've got, well, if you just trash a card from your hand as an activate main. It's not perfect, but it's fine. And you're basically playing about on-play skills. Well, now we've got a character Blackbeard, which goes even further. Now, it's an absurd card, 10 cost, 12,000 power, no counter, turn 5 absolute earliest. You've got blocker here, all right? And if you're not playing a Blackbeard Pirates leader, that's all it's got. But we've got an activate main once per turn. If your leader is Blackbeard Pirates, which right now literally is just Blackbeard, and if this character was played this turn, one of your opponent's leader's skills does not activate this turn. Then, one of your opponent's characters cannot activate skills or attack until the end of your opponent's next turn. Yeah, this just gets better. Now, the whole leader skills thing, Here, there's others, but we're thinking about Enel. This is, I play Blackbeard. This turn, my opponent, as in during my turn that I'm having right now, my opponent can activate leader skills. So I'm using this against Enel. I mean, there's others, but Enel is clearly the obvious one here. Because Enel's got a leader skill that when you go down to 0 life, you add a card from the top of your deck to your life. So you got to take out an extra life, but now you play Blackbeard, and you don't need to take an extra life. And even if you don't win the game right now, if you get your opponent down to 0 life, they have to recover 1 in order to use Enel's skill, because Enel's skill only works when you go from 1 to 0. Or, I suppose, goes to 0 from wherever. Point is, really good against Enel in that regard. And then you get to turn off one of your opponent's skills and stop them attacking for a turn. Yeah. I mean, there's a million here. Something like Black Maria, which puts out 5 extra Don, won't be able to do so. That's a problem card right now, as we've been talking about. So, that's just one example. There's a billion out there. The point is, we're already turning off on-play skills. Now we can turn off leader skills for a turn, and we can turn off one of our opponent's characters in terms of using skills and attacking. I'm just saying, I'm not sure we're done here. There might be more we've got from Blackbeard Pirates here, and I'm genuinely kind of excited to see what we might be getting. Make no mistake about it, Blackbeard is here to turn off your entire deck, and I am starting to think Blackbeard could end up being nuts. Now, they're the two that really stood out to me as potentially absolutely absurd, but there's some other really good ones as well, like Nico Robin. Now, this is the only non-super rare we're looking at here. It is Nico Robin, who looks a little bit different, but again, if you've read the manga, watched the anime, this will make sense. 6 cost, 6,000 power, counter plus 1,000, and on play, if your opponent has got 3 or more life, trash 1. Yep, just trash one of their lives, which is awesome. And very important to note, you are trashing the life. You are not getting them to activate or anything like that. They're not going to get any triggers or any of that rubbish. You just trash it. This is phenomenal. Now, it's a 6 cost, admittedly, but generally speaking, outside of yellow, decks don't tend to take their own life very often. And even with yellow, don't get down too much too quickly. So if you can get this down nice and early, turn 3 or whatever, all of a sudden your opponent just loses the life for nothing? This could be ridiculous. Now, it runs out pretty quickly, yeah? When your opponent goes below 3 life, you lose this skill. That's fine, because it's already an absurdly good skill. But in the early game, to whittle your opponent down or to try and catch up if they've jumped out to a lead, yeah, this is an absurdly good card. This is a ridiculous card. But then it's also got a trigger that lets you play a 3 cost or lower yellow card from your hand. Yeah, no ifs, buts, or maybes. Just play a 3 cost or lower yellow card from your hand. Which, again, is a ridiculous skill. Now, this is a trigger, of course, but remember, yellow do a lot of recovering, so triggers fire a lot more often in yellow decks than in other kind of decks. And then you're just playing a card for free, maybe the Shirahoshi from EB-01 that's got a blocker, and if it's KO'd by effect, you get to recover a life, so your opponent's just going to have to go through that. That could be kind of fun. Or the Onami that gives one of your leader or characters banish. As an example, there's a bunch of 3 cost or lower cards that yellow tend to play at the moment. Those are just a couple of examples. And you know what? Getting them on board for free, I'm just saying that sounds like a really good option. And honestly, this strikes me as, it might be a rare, not a super rare, okay? But this strikes me as a very, very good card. Because either I'm playing this and I'm getting rid of one of my opponent's life, but I'm trashing it, they don't get any advantage. Ha! Doesn't go to the hand, don't get triggered, none of that rubbish. Or I'm using it as a trigger, and then I get to play a card for free, which could end up being redonkulously good. Either way, that seems really, really very nice as a card. I'm a big, big fan of this card. I think Nico Robin could be awesome. And of course, goes nicely with your Nico Robin leader. You'll notice all of these cards is linked to a leader. That is not a coincidence. Now, Sanji's one I've got my eye on here, because this is kind of a weird skill. Now, what we've got from Sanji is a decent enough character. We've got a 7 cost, 7,000 power counter plus 1,000. And on play, you may return 1 or more Don cards to your Don deck. And then if you do, you get Rush for the turn. Oh, and you don't actually just get Rush. You also get to rest one of your opponent's 6 cost or lower characters. So you've got a new character that you can attack with straight away. And you get to rest one of your opponent's characters. And again, I'm sorry, but I'm always thinking of ways to take this card out. Great counter against Black Maria. Really nice Black Maria counter here. Or anything like this. Because your opponent is not going to rest Black Maria, so you can attack it. So play this, rest Black Maria, be able to attack it instantly, and maybe your opponent's got 6k worth of counter? But I'm willing to bet they probably don't, and then you're going to be able to take it out and be fine. Love this. But you might be thinking, why is it not Don -1? And why would you ever Don minus more than 1 here? Well, the answer is your Luffy leader, which has a really nice skill that only activates if you Don -2 or more. And then when you do, you get to put 2 Don back, 1 active, 1 rested. So if you Don -1 with Sanji, you lose a Don. If you Don -2 with Sanji, you swap 2 Don on your field for a rested and an active Don. So Don -2 actually means that instead of losing a Don, you just rest a Don and you're fine. Yeah, that's way better. It's a weird kind of skill here, but it matches very, very nicely with the Luffy. And the fact that you can rest and immediately attack any 6 cost or lower character, this Sanji is, again, very, very good. I think Crocodile and Blackbeard are nuts, especially Blackbeard, but I think Sanji and Nico Robin are really good here. Now, Ben Beckman, I'm less of a fan of. Ben Beckman's fine. I wouldn't say it's a bad card, but it seems kind of meh compared to a lot of the others we're looking at here. 7 cost, 7,000 power, counter plus 1,000, and on play, you trash one of your opponent's characters with 6,000 power or less. Actually, to be fair, I've just been talking about how Sanji can take out a character. Well, here you just straight out trash them. Now I've changed my mind already. I love Ben Beckman. It's a 7 cost, which is very expensive, and you don't get Rush, but you really need Rush if you can just trash a character. Probably not, honestly. And, yeah, 6,000 power or less character, go for it. Obviously, someone like Black Maria, I'm sorry, Black Maria is ridiculous right now. Law is still going out. I think of the first 6 tournaments in Japan in the OP-08 meta, 10 of the finalists have been starter deck Law. The other 2, there were actually 2 winners with Rob Lucci. But the other 10 finalists were all starter deck 10 Law. And I'm not saying it's all Black Maria. It's obviously not all Black Maria. But I am saying that really seems like the card that pushed that deck over the top. So we need some counters for it. And am I the only one that thinks it's a massive coincidence, right? That just here alone, we got Blackbeard that turns off Black Maria, Sanji that can rest and then immediately attack Black Maria, Ben Beckman that can trash Black Maria. I cannot be the only one seeing this, that actually a lot of these cards are deliberately countering Black Maria and other cards like it. Fairly weak cards that sit on the board and just using skills over and over again every turn, but never resting so you can attack them normally. Just saying, seems like there's a lot of overt counters to those kind of cards in this new batch of cards from OP-09. Maybe not a coincidence. So Ben Beckman, I've already changed my mind. It seems uninspiring compared to some of the others, but actually just flat out trashing a 6,000 power or lower character. Yeah. And you'll notice it's not a rested character or any of that. It is just trash a 6,000 power or lower character. I think, again, that is very deliberate. They are just giving you an option to just blow someone off the board, and I like it. So that leaves us with one more left, and it is Adio. Goes, of course, with Lim from Odyssey. And honestly, Lim is the other leader I was really unimpressed by initially. And I wanted to see some good cards that make it worth it. Because the leader Lim says all of your characters come into play rested, which is low-key super annoying. because they can then be attacked and taken out immediately. But Lim also has a skill here whereby you've got activate main once per turn, rest free Don, and then you can play a Don card from your Don deck, rested, and play a 5-cost or lower Odyssey card from your hand. Well, obviously Adio doesn't count here. Adio is not a 5-cost or lower character, so you're not getting that, unfortunately. But you are getting a pretty nice character. Now, this is a 9-cost, 9,000 power no counter. But on play, if you have an Odyssey leader, you get set free of your Don active. Now, it's not a 6-cost because you have to have 9 Don down to play it. But it's only actually costing you 9 Don because you pay your 9 Don and then immediately activate 3 of them, so you essentially get 3 of them right back. So you need to have 9 Don, but if you do, you're only using 6 of them here. That's kind of good. And then when your opponent is attacking, once per turn, you can rest 1 Don to give your leader or characters, well, one of your leader or characters, a 2k bump for the battle. Just for the battle, not for the turn, but still, it's like a straight 2k counter always on the board. Like, as long as you've got this dude on the board, you can just rest a Don to get counter plus 2k every turn, or every one of your opponent's turn. And it doesn't matter if this is rested or any of that, 'cause you don't need to rest this to use it. It's just activate main once per turn, rest one of your Don to get a 2k bump. That's going to save a lot of characters. That is going to really help a lot. Now, it does mean your opponent is going to go after this. Sorry about that. But it's essentially a 6-cost, 9,000 power that can give you a 2k bump once during your opponent's turn. I told you we were looking at some good characters in this video, and I think I delivered. There's none of these I out and out don't like. I think they've all got the potential to be very good, and I think something is going on with Blackbeard here, and I kind of want to know what. But I've told you everything I know now. I've told you all these new cards, so now it's over to you guys. Tell me which of these you think are awesome. Tell me which of these are exciting. Tell me which of these you want to be playing with. Go nuts in the comment section, but be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at Lawasi. That's where we talk about One Piece and a bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, join a Discord, and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wassy Plays.